YouTube Music Premium je tu pro vás. Během večeře s přáteli a rodinou, na dlouhých cestách bez signálu a když je obrazovka telefonu zamknutá, je plný skvělých funkcí, díky kterým budete mít pocit, že jste s kapelou. Pomohou vám najít hudbu, kterou hledáte a objevit novou hudbu, kterou už nepřestanete poslouchat. Přejděte na YouTube Music Premium. Hudba bez přerušení, přímo pro vás. Vyzkoušejte měsíc bezplatně.
Hello, everybody.
Hello.
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 Welcoming you at the panel where we are going to discuss the ecological solutions for festivals and how to communicate the ecology within the event industry and what technologies can be brought to the festivals to make it even more sustainable and even prettier, maybe. Let me introduce our team. First, we have Veronika Jirku. She's from Ladidrail Festival, and also she's running Rolling Green, and she's also going to talk about Festas Green, that is a new initiation. Next, we have Michal Sladek from Pohoda Festival, very well known for his all that he's doing for the festival. He will tell us more about it later as well. Then we have Jan Dawa Kleske.
Yeah.
Did I pronounce your name well?
You did a wonderful job.
Thank you. I practiced.
Yeah.
Jan is developing and realizing concepts within media that is focusing on sustainability. It is really important to have the connection between politics, for example, and the festival organizers. And then we have Fas Monen, who I cannot see right now. We lost Fas, but Fas is creating new technologies for festivals. There he is. Hi, Fas. Can you hear us?
I could tell a few things about
You
Fas
could? Okay.
because, yeah, I work with him almost on a daily basis. He is working on the Technical University of Eindhoven in the southern part of the Netherlands. And one of the moments we came together was in 2012 when we were working on the festival area, and Fas asked me the question, what can we do about generators at festival places? So we both had the amazing idea of while working on ecological topics, to want to change the festival world from the inside. So I don't know if we have connection with Fas Monen. Not yet. There's no sound. And one of the things that we developed ever since 2014 it was the Gem Tower that you asked to come to your festival, Brenda.
Yes. It's an incredible tower. It's 22-meter tall. Fas will tell us more about it.
Yeah.
But for now, I would give a word to Michal Sladek and Pohoda Festival. He will give us an introduction to what they do at the festival, what are their practices, and so on. So what does sustainability mean for Pohoda, Michal?
Okay, first of all, thank you very much for having me. I will try to run through my short presentation because I'm looking forward to the discussion afterwards. But I prepared a couple of slides just to let you know about the sustainability, let's say, policy or approach in Pohoda Festival. This is the view from about our festival. It's based on the airport, and it has 30,000 visitors a day. Basically, it's running for 3 days, and we sell only tickets for the complete 3 days. So these are the same people staying there the whole weekend. And this is the festival team when we've been awarded a Green Operation Award on the European Festival Awards in 2017, or for 2017. And this was a moment when we realized that what we do in sustainability is actually worth to share and to spread, that not only we are doing it, but we should really start to talk about it, because it's being recognized. So we are working in a couple of, let's say, themes or sections. First of all is transport, and we try to allow people come with a more like, we are public transport, so this is a special train that comes for the festival, and this is a parking place for bicycles. We are planning to organize the bicycle tours from different cities so that people can come on a bicycle from a larger distance. And the second part where we try to achieve some reduction is the food and beverages, where we use the refundable cups since 2014, with each year with some new layout, new graphics, you see, and we use the fully compostable foodware on the festival since 2018, and this is connected to the waste management, which is quite complicated, because we try to make us that it will be great to have a circular, but now it's like knowing where the things that you can purchase and you can have on the festival, where they go. And so we have this kind of separation points where people can come, and these nice volunteers will help them to separate the waste correctly, and each part goes to some different processing. And it's so complicated that we have developed this kind of game or an app, which is a very simple question and answers, when the player is choosing for every item, is choosing what kind of waste bin it should be placed to. And this is also the way how to communicate the more intriguing answers. Like, let's say for a t-shirt, of course it's good to put it on the separation point, but also there is some more information that in our merchandising stall you can put a Pohoda sticker on your old t-shirt, and you don't have to buy a new t-shirt and so on. So this is the app is also a communication part. And also, if we want to communicate the little things that are done in the waste management, like you can recycle these the bottle tops directly on the place. Actually, these guys who are doing it are like melting the plastic on the site and doing something out of it, which is this kind of festival clip.
Nice.
And it's done by the technology from a Dutch guy, and it's called, like, it was inspired by these precious plastics. And the other part, what we are trying to achieve some reduction, is the power and energy. This is the Sunbox, a mobile solar power plant, and in the rear you can see a solar public lights on the festival. But what is more important, that we are trying to use as much of the energy from the grid as possible, and these are the transformators that are being built for the festival site, and And we are trying to reduce the diesel consumption, and it's now about 40%, or it was in 2018, but 2019 numbers I haven't done yet. And it's already 2 years ago, right? And what is the new things that we're doing, that we have been approached by the festivals into a common project, which is called the Green Europe Experience. And there are 4 festivals involved. We Love Green as a leading partner, Boom, Doer, and Pohoda Festival. And it's co-funded by the European Creative Europe program from the European Union. And our part is in this project, we're trying to address that we will try to develop some products for the festival site by using the old tents. And we are using the tents from this company called Tentin, which are the pre-pitched tents, which are quite available almost on every summer festival in Europe. And the people can, and the company is always giving us the spare tents that are not used anymore. So these were the ideas at the very beginning, some trials with what you can do with the tents, trying to make a shadow. But actually we involved the Technical University of Slovakia, the design faculty, and the students of design are now trying to design some products based on these leftover tents, or these disposed tents. And these I'm showing you now some proposal of their work. Unfortunately, we didn't come, as of course there was no festival season in 2020, so we didn't have the results realized in real time or in real scale. And some of the project like this one is so far away from the sustainability that it's quite interesting to see that some people, or how the students approach to the topic, just basically doing what they feel that is good for the festival and not always keeping the sustainability in mind. And this is another prize that we got recently, a month ago, which is called the prize for the SDG, which is Sustainability Development Goals. We got a prize in the part of company. So it's always good to be rewarded, and it makes us to move forward. So this is shortly what we are doing, and I'm looking forward for another discussion, or for the discussion to follow.
That is quite impressive. I saw in one of your videos that you said that you mentioned that coming to Pohoda will be more sustainable than staying at home in some aspects. And now I can see the aspects. In which ways? Recycling even tents. Okay, thank you very much. Now we ask Veronica to tell us about how's the circularity at the Lateral Festival.
Okay, so hello everyone. My name is Veronica Irku, and I am head of production of the Lateral Festival. And today I am going to tell you about the project Rolling Green that has been developed as a part of the festival. So our festival Lateral is electronic music festival that is focused on drum and bass. We organize 2 editions per year, but the summer edition is bigger one. We have about 25,000 visitors every year, and the 70% of them are from abroad. So they travel by planes, car, buses, and the rest of the visitors are from Czech Republic. After the summer edition in 2013, we were very surprised about the significant amount of waste the visitors produced. including one-use tents, sleeping beds, etc. So we decided to do something about that, and the program Rolling Green was born. The program should unite our planned ecological activities and future goals. So this initiative is focusing on waste and water management, carbon footprint, and recycling. So we started with the goals to reduce waste. One of the first activity we started in 2014. It was reusable cups, which eliminate total and plastic waste. Also, it helps to increase revenue since the visitors collect these cups and they keep it as a souvenir, and we charge a fee of 50 crowns per one cup. Next year, we started cooperate with Augia Schuchle. It's the company that is in charge of cleaning services at the festival. They have a system and they know how to separate trash correctly. So we placed the colorful trash bins all over the festival for passive sorting. It had taken many years before people learn how to separate correctly. And it's difficult, especially when they are drunk. But every year it gets better and better, and we have better results. In 2021, I hope we plan to place sorting line on the site for the best sorting. Recycling of the waste does not only save environment but also save money, because the price per ton of mixed waste is expensive than plastic or bio waste, and the price gets higher and higher every year. So that's the reason. We also replace plastic plates for plates made from palm leaves, which are for 400 compostable. We have special bin for that. Cutlery are made from wood. So this waste goes to composting plant. We also stop using straw, so we are strawless festival now. And also we try to sell or reuse some of our waste. For example, use oil from vendors, aluminium cans goes to car industry. We recycle some of our PVC banner from the main stage for our upcycling merchandise. We donate tents and sleeping bags to Asylum House, Armada Spasi. We use large plastic bottle to create plastic chairs for visitors and etc. And that's our recycling. In 2018, we started cooperate with the University of Life Science in Prague, and they make research of waste composition, and they help us to do it better. So thanks God for them. And we also try to reduce carbon footprint. We offer shuttle buses from some European countries, even from many places in Prague, like Prague Airport City Center. Also, we discuss with artists, agents about the offset compensation at the flights, because that's a very big problem for us. And on the site, we lend bicycles, so visitors can lend bikes when they need to shopping in the nearest village or go to swim to lake. So we, as a promoters, we have tied hands in some aspect of our work, because we want to eliminate carbon footprint, but the Czech market do not offer some important equipment. So we are forced to borrow the furniture from abroad, from Germany, from UK. So it's more expensive and it creates larger carbon footprint. Yeah. For example, we want to save water at the festival because we have to carry the tank of water since there is no water on the site. Sometimes we carry the water from Prague. So we wanted the water basins with the timer, but we didn't find it in Czech Republic. So we had to borrow from Germany. Because of that, we negotiate and motivated the Czech Toy company, and that they remade some their water basins to basins with timers. So now it's possible to borrow in Czech Republic for standard price. So the problem is that in Czech Republic is not still so ready to offer ecological variants because the demand is it's not large enough. the promoters didn't know that some of these things exist and they don't know use that. So the same problem is with generators. I don't know any company which offer alternative sources of electricity on Czech market. I know exists abroad, but it's very expensive for us and not too ecological to transport them from abroad. So we have to cooperate together, and step by step we can make better and better festival background for our promoters. It's necessary to educate promoters and also visitors, and to understand how and why they should do.
I think I was muted. Yes, thank you so much, Veronica. This is the problem that many festivals mention, that they do want to be sustainable, but it's not economical. That usually it does cost them way more to apply certain steps, certain practices into the festival to reduce carbon footprint. But at the end of the day, it does cost more.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, we lost Faz for technical difficulties, but I'm going to ask Jan Dawa about his point of view. He's promoting different solutions, making the connection between also the politics and the festival organizers, how difficult it is to come to one agreement and apply stuff for the Dutch festivals.
Well, thank you for inviting me. Thank you very much, Brenda. First of all, just very briefly, I'm a host for radio and television. I used to have my own radio program, and I still do. Television, and main topic in my program is music or sustainability. When it comes to sustainability, I started some 10 years ago working on LowLab, funded at the Lowlands Festival, which is one of the biggest alternative festivals in the Netherlands and one of the leading festivals, I would say, in Europe. So it's circling around. There is a number of bands that's circling around Europe, and well, every now and then they visit a festival like Lowlands or Pinkpop, like you have your Pinkpop and Lowlands Festival as well. So we per se wanted to land with a sustainability platform on this festival Lowlands, so therefore we called it LowLab. And we wanted to land there because the audience is key. It's not about the bands in the first place, but it's about the audience. If you want to share certain ecological point of starters with people, you need to start with your audience and never with the bands or the organization itself. Although I should say, if the organization of a festival, if the team itself is not motivated to work on this ecological principle for a festival, then it will not work. So, in fact, the two main parties within reaching your ecological goal, I would say, is audience and festival organization. Because we know that bands, they have their place on the stage. And there are some bands who really like to talk about this topic, but they cannot do much about it because they're in a system. And I'm well aware that we're talking about the situation before Corona, because Corona will change the whole industry, whether it's festivals or the band situation or the production situation or even the audience situation. So this is probably the best moment to talk about how we can develop much greener festivals than we used to do. And while coming from a country where we have a lot of festivals, we also in the Netherlands have a lot of ecological problems because we cause them ourselves, whether it's about traveling from home to the festival ground, whether it's from taking your tent with you, be there with 30,000 people on a spot, which is eventually not created for a festival area. So you always find yourself on a location which is not meant to have a green energy system. So you should create something. Therefore, you have to rely on generators that go on diesel, or instead of red diesel, blue diesel, or gray diesel, but we're still working on diesel. So what I'm actually thinking about, and which started somewhere around 2010 with Low Lab, we should really change while starting ourselves. Do not wait on politics. Try to organize the sector, which is the festival circuit, in combination with your audience. So show the audience what's already available and ask the audience how they want to change their own environment. Those are the main questions. If you cannot interest your... Oh, someone is moving a chair over here, I'm sorry. If you cannot interest your audience, you will never be able to change your audience and yourself. So it's a long answer to your question, Brenda. But if we, being organizers, being producers, being representatives of our audience, want to change the situation with festivals in the world, we need to do it ourselves. We cannot rely on the principles of politicians who always react on a change in society. We have to be the change makers.
Thank you very much.
Yeah, well, perhaps I can tell you that that's the reason why we came up with the idea of Jam Tower, which is a start, of course, which is not perfect, because there's so many things to work on. But we wanted to show that if you start thinking about changing your energy potential or changing your energy source at a festival place, you should start yourself instead of waiting for the next best option. And my personal opinion is, if you want to look for people who can change fast, go with people from universities, talk with science, talk with change makers. And a lot of change makers are actually on a position in the international university system. So probably are the professors, students, the change makers of the future.
I really much agree that festivals should cooperate more with the technology side of the things, such as universities, as they are the brains behind the new solutions. You as a journalist are already active for almost 30 years.
Yes.
And I found out that you had the opportunity to interview bands such as Radiohead, Coldplay in their early days, Foo Fighters, and many others, like big names. And I was interested, like, when it comes to bands, are they doing any progress within their views on the sustainability and ecology? Are they adjusting to this system as well, or are they progressive?
You know, as I just said, it's big news. Like in 2018 or 19, when Coldplay decided to do no more touring because of the carbon influence of the band itself. It doesn't cope with the principle of the band, so they decided to stop touring until there's a better way, a greener way, and that was big news. And if that is the big news, I'm not really satisfied about the group as a whole, because you could expect something from Taylor Swift, you could expect the same movement from Drake, or you could expect the same initiative from a band like Foo Fighters, but that is not the case. So, to be honest, I'm not really optimistic about the number of bands that are putting a greener way of working in their riders. But if the bands don't do it, why would the festivals not just start doing it? I mean, the business has been used to receiving riders and contracts from bands and managements. But why don't we, as festival goers and festival organizers, start pushing on creating riders with a special article on green? And if a band doesn't want to work on the green principles from a festival, they shouldn't come to that festival. So I think it's time to make a statement from the festival side as well. And again, this is probably the best moment in time to change a lot of things when it comes to our business. And of course, there are people like Michael Franti, Spearhead. There is Damien Jurado, there is Chris Martin of Coldplay, Jack Johnson, and some others who really like to emphasize on changing the business. But we need more, much more.
Thank you very much. Here's the start, though.
Yeah,
there must
absolutely
be a pioneer in this, and hopefully it will become a domino effect with the other bands as well. We have Faz back. Hi, Faz.
Sorry for that. There was some problem with my connection.
Don't worry.
You can hear me now?
Yes, we can hear you now. First of all, I would like to ask you, what is Jam Tower? You can tell us also a bit about yourself. What do you do and why you develop Jam Tower?
Jam Tower is a research project, basically, but it became much more than the research project. So it started with my wondering that when I was working at a big festival, that there was so many diesel spoiled over there. If you see the large numbers and you see the way it handles and the very low use of diesel in the festivals, I thought there should be done something better. So I talked to Jan Douwer, I talked to some others, and then we said, why not try to give an example, try to start a small change to do that way. And the thing which we did is we brought in wind energy, solar energy, a huge battery. But what we did, and that was quite a nice thing, is that we didn't want to have that energy production on the backside of the festival, but we wanted to work with the discussion to the front side of the festival. So in the very first steps we made, we said, why not, if you're going to develop something, why not make something good looking, why not make something nice, which can be on the middle core of every festival, and then have a discussion with all the audience.
And now we are showing the tower.
Yes. So basically, what it is, it's a 22 meters high tower, because we need a huge height to collect wind as much as possible. There's a windmill on top, and it doesn't show that much on this this photo. But if you build up the wind tower, I sit 3 times in the wind tower myself in the height. So it's a huge thing. And then we have the colored element in there. They collect also energy. So they transfer the solar light to the sideways, and there we have collectors. And then on the bottom part, there is a very big battery. And then we have a lot of flexible solar cells, which you can add on fences, on the houses. So in Prague, we had a building over there completely covered with our solar cell. And all those sustainable sources fill in the battery during nighttime, during daytime, whenever, even when there's no festival, even the days before the festival. And then when the festival is there, we can use the battery to provide the stages and the food trucks and all things.
When it comes to usage of the tower, now we learned that it creates energy just thanks to sun and the wind and stores it in the battery on the bottom. When it comes to usage, what do you usually connect it to? What do you power by the tower?
As I said, it's still a research project. So the biggest issue that we have, it's such a big tower, which means that we only can test the tower and optimize the tower when we're on a festival. So all our festivals are research moments in this. So now we start to have parts of the stage power to see how far we could go. So we always assure that there's enough power for everything. Sometimes it comes from other sources if our battery is not enough. But we are just looking forward. So in Prague we had a small part of a festival area which we had some power, and also we helped with the grid. So we had a grid connection, and with our battery and the grid connection we could power that stage. Last time, 2 weeks ago, we were at Zandvoort, and then we had some food trucks connected to us. So we're just testing everywhere to see how far we could go. And also we're looking into new ways of sustainable sources, not only wind, not only solar, but also what's available.
Thank you. How difficult it is to transport the tower and build it?
That's not difficult at all, because we made it in such a way that everything fits in 2 small containers, and the containers fit on 1 truck. So every time we go from festival to festival, we have a truck driving all the elements, and then we have 1 day building. So by accident, yesterday we built the tower again on the test location. So we started at 8 o'clock building, and at 8 o'clock in the evening the whole tower was ready. So it's a large thing. It takes some energy from ourselves to build it, but it's not too much.
Thank you. And Kaz, why did you decide to work with festivals in particular? You can create technology for anything else, but why do you think it's so important to do it for?
There are many reasons. So one of the reasons is that at the moment, most of those festivals, they spoil a lot of energy. So that was something that surprised me when I noticed it. But the other thing is, and the most important thing, is that the festivals, it is a special word. So you can experiment in a way that you cannot experiment in real life. And everything you develop at a festival, it can be used in real life. So the festivals are the front runners in change, from the technology, but also from the attitude of people who are at the festival.
I think this is a question for everybody. If you think that the things are changing for the better at this moment when it comes to...
Well, I was actually thinking about it. You know, in the 60s, when festivals for the first time popped up, it was because young, unexperienced organizers, whether it's Woodstock or the Island of Wight or the early version of festivals like Glastonbury, they were invented to create a perfect world with beautiful and perfect bands. And what we actually see is something that has gone in a different direction. It's not a perfect world. It's more or less a copy of the, society. You will find a supermarket on any festival area at this moment. You can eat Japanese food, or you can drive your car to a festival. So it has become a copy of normal society. And that is quite logical, because we want to find ourselves in the most luxurious system. But on the other hand, you know, if we were able to create festivals in the 60s, we should also be able to renew the whole system of festivals, because in my personal opinion, festivals have become so old-fashioned, so very old-fashioned. And it's not about the music in the first place, but people have to pay a lot of money. You have to behave like you should behave. you have to fit in the system of a festival. So I think it's either time to stop festivals in the world or create the new way of festivals. And it's within reach of organizers and audiences. I'm sure that whether it's in America or in Europe, audiences were asked to fill in a formula with questions about how the ideal festival would be. Audience would immediately ask, make them greener, make them nice places for a number of days, make them places where I can feel safe. So it's not just about music. It should also be an inspiring environment to change your total environment. And therefore, a festival could be an ideal place to be inspired again. And that was the idea about how should we go along with Jam Tower. It's about inspiration. It's about change.
For sure. It's clear that festivals have a huge impact on the environment and planet Earth in general. It's clear that it does, but understandably, but sometimes people overlook it, that how big of an impact a festival has because of its number of visitors. And now it's a question for the festival organizers, Veronica and Misha. From your experience, do people follow the rules, what you set as an organizer?
Veronica, please.
It takes a long time, and it's necessary to educate the people for respect the rules, for example, the separate waste correctly, or to behave responsible. And now it's 4 years ago when we started with the project Rolling Green, and it's better and better. We have better separate waste now, but we have to try to educate some funny part to audience for understand why they should do and why they should respect the rules, and why they should behave responsible to our planet. So it takes a long time, and we have to try to explain them correctly and the most easiest.
I agree with Veronica that the communication with the audience is very the key point, that they understand why we want them to do something, and it has to be also, like from our experiences, there has to be frank, that that we are inviting them to do this, to do it with us or along with the festival line. So we need to do it first. Our hands are to like, just an example, when we are introducing some system like compostable dishes, first year it was only backstage with the volunteers and workers and staff, and then we know it works, then we can ask people to do the same or come along, because we are like, we had the experience and know that we will do it ourselves. But I would now shift into some more philosophical questions, how the festivals are can do the change. Because when it comes to real like numbers, when you start to do the calculations of the impact of the behavior, and then it comes that we follow this idea that everybody can bring a small change, and everybody can bring some drop into the sea. But when we look where are the big rains, I'm sometimes thinking whether it wouldn't be better to ask the people to make a campaign or to be a lobbying group, for instance, to closing the carbon power plant in Slovakia, not in year 2023, but in 2022, and it will save so much CO2 than the all of our things that we have done on the festival so far. It's nothing compared to the big things. And whether festivals can be the places where the topics where the real change can be somehow addressed, because it's fine when we do our homework, but to actually to do something against the climate change, it won't be fought on the ground level. We have to fight the big fights where the big pollution is. And it's a interesting question, and also for the others in the panel, like, how do you feel the festivals can approach the political issues involved?
Yes,
Or trying.
yeah, Jan, you were muted. Can you please repeat the?
Yeah, I'm dying to try to answer this one, and I like those questions, because if you start talking about philosophical aspects of our jobs, I would say if we want to change the planet, we should not just start at Shell Oil or the Ministry of Defense in the Netherlands, or the Ministry of Defense in Czech Republic, or the Ministry of Food in Czech Republic. We should do that, of course, but we should also inform people who go to festivals. If I have a look at the Netherlands, up till Corona, it was one of the most busiest festival countries in the world, and probably too much. Now we don't have festivals anymore. Of course, organizers miss it. Audiences do miss it, of course. But while thinking about planet, while thinking about carbon footprint in general, is it still sensible? Is it still sensible to organize so many festivals in the countries like the Netherlands? I mean, what the hell? Why do we do this? We spend so much money on wrong things. Why should we start thinking about doing it in a different way? Instead of going to a festival 10 times a year, the future will probably tell us that it's sensible to do it 2 times a year instead of 10 times. So I don't know what will come next after Corona, but we all know that the situation of planet will not change for the better in the next 5 years. So why shouldn't we emphasize on renewing from a completely different point of stature? Why don't we start working on festivals as a limited number a year, instead of organizing it on and on and on? So there's so much going on. Isn't it too much? On the other hand, if we will not inform the audiences, they will not become part of the change. And if you want to make a change, do it together with your audience. Don't forget your audience.
I would also like to invite all the viewers that they can give questions to our panelists as well. I so far received only one comment from Nod that he loves Jan's jacket. We can all agree.
You haven't seen the inside yet.
Oof.
It's even beautiful inside.
Oh.
And this one
it's 3 types of fabric. I have a question for everybody, that there are lots of challenges to involved in this objective that Jan Douwe just described. First question is, what are the challenges? And the second question is, how to get all the suppliers with us? Because I see that when festival organizers are trying to be circular and ecological, sometimes it's really hard to find suppliers, such as where to put all the trash afterwards, how to separate it correctly, and so on.
Well, I'd like to answer this one with one example. In Belgium, on the south side of the Netherlands, we have the city called Ghent, G-E-N-T, Ghent. They have a city festival called Boomtown Ghent. And within the city of Boomtown, they introduced their own made beer glass made of junk plastic. But it looked really beautiful and it was easy to carry. And you could easily put 2 or 3 glasses on top of each other. So nobody wanted to let go of that glass. The festival itself gave the best example how to go along with waste. And in general, I would say make a start and you will start inspiring others. And you will never know what comes next. Because after the glass of Boomtown Ghent, more options to show their greenness opened themselves. And I could also use the example of Jam Tower. If we show Jam Tower to people who just come along, who visit this tower, they want to know, what is this? What does it do? What will be the future of Jam Tower? So we should really emphasize on what can we show and share with the audience in the first place, and then other parties will follow. So get your hands on the steer, get your hands on the wheel. That's one thing. And I absolutely agree with Michael that if you start doing something, people watch it and they will get enthusiastic about it. So that's the best way to motivate the festival. So don't stop. Take a next step and the next step and the next step, and then the audience and new partners will enter your way of working.
Anybody else would like to answer?
Yeah, I agree with that, and I think what you first should do is to show that there are good examples in doing this kind of thing. And I think also there's a challenge for the organizers of any festival in the world at the moment to use these days to think about to make a better festival. So now most of the festivals have time to sit back and to think about what should be the new way of festivals. So normally they work from festival to festival, but now they have really time to think it over. So I really want to challenge them to make it much better, and then not from a starting point that we need to do it from the environment or something like that, but the new sustainable possibilities show such a great advantages. So we have to show the audience that there are so nice, great things coming to us if we just pick up the new things, and then CO2 will be a result of that one.
Yeah.
And not the other way around. So the other way around, that's a thing that was. You should motivate people. You should show them what's possible, but do it in a pleasant, lovely way.
And partner as much as possible. Try to find partners. We wouldn't have been able to create Jam Tower without the help of the people of TU Eindhoven, but also the people of Eurosonic Noorderslag and the people of, for instance, Ibis Power, or the people of Zap Concepts. If you bring together different parties within a collaboration, find your partners, describe the next step, and make it, do it. And then you will find your followers. You will create followers.
Is it difficult? I'm sorry, go ahead.
I think that we cannot compare Czechoslovak scene with the Netherlands or in Belgium. It's quite different, and I think, especially in Czech Republic, it's necessary to start from basic things and to show and educate the visitors. So, and also some alternative sources of energy for our festival is very expensive, and I think that we are a big festival, but it's expensive for us, and we start from basic things like waste management, water management, and maybe in future we will have some alternative energy sources, but it's future for us.
But don't you think that there is a lot of curious people who are working on the University of Prague? You, in Czech Republic, have one of the best university systems in the world, they told me. So there should be a big number of curious people who want to be part of your festival.
Yes, maybe we start cooperate with the University of Life Science, so it's ecological topic. But
it's the best you can do.
Yeah, and it's in future we can start cooperating with more universities. It will be perfect.
Perfect, just perfect.
Yeah, and I got a great example from somebody who started over because it was completely lockdown after COVID in March, and then there was an organization who opened again, and they noticed that 1/3 of the things they were doing, they didn't want to open themselves because nobody knew why they were doing that anymore. So make use of all the new ways, the new sites we have to rethink festivals.
For sure. I see that we have 2 minutes left.
Oh, can I say one more thing, please? Can I say one more thing, please, Brenda?
Of course.
You introduced me by telling the audience that I interviewed Kurt Cobain of Nirvana and Dave Grohl of Foo Fighters.
Oh, yeah.
It is very easy to become a spoiled brat after doing interviews with big artists. But it's not per se in the names. It's about staying curious. How do I get curious? Well, there's a new album out by Fleet Foxes, which is brilliant. There's a new album out by the Doves, which is brilliant. There's a new artist out by Dutch artist Eva van Manen, who I love personally. There are so many good things in the live business. We should emphasize on the good new things and not just rely on the old things. And I'm absolutely proud of my relationship with Dave Grohl, but I'm also sincerely interested, and I love the music of Damien Gerardo, Fleet Foxes and the Doves, and Eva van Manen. So we should really emphasize on what's new and what we have to share with our audiences. It's the same thing as with this topic, and I'm so curious about your city, and I'm sure that in Prague, in the city of Prague, there are as many curious people as there are in Amsterdam. I'm sure, absolutely sure.
But maybe the financial budget of the festival are different. So
well, we have this powerful European Union, you know. Jam Tower wouldn't be possible without support of the European Union. And I just heard from Michael that you have been supported by European Union as well. That's great. Let's use the money. Let's use it.
Yes, sometimes it's difficult to get funded in these areas. Unfortunately, that would be my next question, actually, how it's possible to get funding for all that. But since we are running out of time and the next panel is starting soon, if somebody would like to say 2-3 questions about the funding within Slovakia or Czech Republic, we could do that, and then we would have to wrap it up.
I will be very short. Like most of the solutions we are funding ourselves because we find that it's part of what we want to do, and also the European Union project is co-funded by the festival itself.
Thank you. All right, we have to wrap it up. Thank you so much, everybody, for bringing your input into this really important discussion. I hope that the topic will resonate with us and with everybody who is watching, and we can continue talking about it more and more until we get the desired outcome, and not to be afraid to tell of our failures as well, because by acknowledging failures that we do within festivals, it's really important for us to move forwards. So thank you very much, everybody.
Thank you.
Thank you. Nice weekend.
And
Nice meeting you guys.
thank you, and hope to
Bye-bye.
see you next year live.
Bye.
Have a nice week.
Bye.
Bye bye.
YouTube Music Premium je tu pro vás. Během večeře s přáteli a rodinou, na dlouhých cestách bez signálu a když je obrazovka telefonu zamknutá. Je plný skvělých funkcí, díky kterým budete mít pocit, že jste s kapelou. Pomohou vám najít hudbu, kterou hledáte, a objevit novou hudbu, kterou už nepřestanete poslouchat. Přejděte na YouTube Music Premium. Hudba bez přerušení, přímo pro vás. Vyzkoušejte měsíc bezplatně.